Excellent. I know for me, I was just telling Tracy this morning, I was staying at a friend's house. She lives like literally 5 minutes from here. And she made dinner, and I realized last night I really like kimchi. You guys know what kimchi is? It's like pickled cabbage. It's like a Korean thing, but she's vegetarian, so she made this like brown rice and edamames and avocados and seaweed and kimchi. And it was really good. The kimchi like totally made the dish. It was like super pickly, and I don't know, I was just really enjoying the kimchi, so I had extra. But just wanted to put that out there. I was totally mindfully eating my kimchi. It's really good. You should try it if you haven't. Yeah. Anything else? All right. So let's see our roadmap for today. So today we're going to get into motivation and empathy this morning. So we're going to do a lot of work before lunch on motivation and empathy. And then at the end of the day, we're going to get into leadership. So that's kind of our roadmap for today. And Tracy's going to kick us off with motivation.
Thanks. So, motivation. We're going to move into motivation, which is the third emotional intelligence competency. And I want to share a story with you. I think I told you yesterday that I work for an accounting and consulting firm, and I run the Women's Business Development Initiative. Well, what I didn't tell you was I created that position. And it started after I had been at the job for 10 years. And I was tired of what I was doing. And there was no growth that I could see, no growth potential for the job that I was in. However, I liked the firm, and I liked the people that I worked with. So I started to think about what else I could do that might be able to keep me there and still be interesting. So I had this idea. As part of my job, I ran this women's networking group, and I found that we were getting some good successes from it. We got new business from it. We positioned the women at the firm as thought leaders. We were invited to join boards. We were quoted in articles, and we were able to develop relationships that ultimately led to new business. So I got this idea that we could do this nationally across the firm. I was thinking, if we could do this in New Jersey where I live, why not do it nationally across the firm? So I wrote a proposal, and I submitted it to our chief marketing officer, who was like, great, I don't know what to do with this, because nobody had ever done anything like that before. And I also started talking about it. I started to tell people, I have this really good idea, what do you think? And because I had been doing it, I actually thought I knew everything about it. But the more I talked about it with other people, the more ideas I got, the more feedback, the more reframing, the more I'm like, yeah, I could do it differently, So I was able to see it differently. And then here's the clincher, which I thought was, it was bold, but I also felt very committed to it. I actually started doing the job as if I had it. I was communicating with my team around the country, the marketing leads in the areas, and I was saying, hey, how about you starting an executive women's forum, which is what the program's called. Here's how it could work with you for your office. How it can align with your strategic goals. Really putting the program in their place, like how it could work for them. And people jumped on it, because who doesn't want a new tool, a new business development tool? And 9 months later, I mean, it was not like, oh, Tracy, you're so wonderful, here's the job. It wasn't like that. But 9 months later, with advocating for myself and getting a sponsor and talking to people and really keeping my eyes on the prize, they created the position for me. So I share that story with you because that's what motivation looks like in this. There's 3 things that we need to do if we want to make a change. The first is write it down. And this journaling is that exercise to begin that process. The second is start talking about it. When we start talking about it with people, things become more real or more crystallized. And also we get that feedback. And the other thing that's always very surprising is that people want to help. So if you tell somebody, I'm thinking about doing whatever, there's often an altruistic nature in other people, and especially if you want to do good, people want to help. And the third thing is act as if you already have. Act as if you're already that person. So just that embodiment and the ability to be there, to put yourself in it, those are the ways that we are able to move forward to get what we want. Make sense? What we know is that the best teacher is the student, because we already know our values and we already know what our heart's desires are. We just need to figure out how to get there. We don't often need someone to tell us what we want to do. We know that. How do we get there? Today we're going to do a lot of work like that. We're going to look at our deep motivations, and we're going to explore how the work that we've done in the past, yesterday, helps us build on these deepest motivations. So we're going to do another generous listening exercise. So I'm going to invite you to stand up or find another person to work with. This is in pairs again. We're going to practice what's called generous listening. So generous listening is like mindful listening, but you can talk, you can ask questions, you can nod, you can engage. You don't have to be silent. And remember how that felt last time, how when you first started it felt a little awkward not to say anything. Feel free to ask a question, but make sure you keep the conversation focused on the other person until it's your turn. Okay, so person A is going to speak. Person B is going to practice generous listening. We're going to have 3 minutes, and then we'll switch. Everybody have a partner? Okay. Then person B will speak, and person A will practice generous listening, and then we'll have a 2-minute meta conversation about it. So the prompts are, what is your motivation for coming to work each day? What is your motivation? Your motivation. 3 minutes. Person A, you could decide who person A is. All right? Yeah. Off you go.